right, well, good day and welcome to Commerce Today. My name is Darren Newbold, and I'm excited to have a guest. Josh is not with us, and we have a fantastic guest, our very own from Creatuity, our Director of Innovation and Technology, Mihail. And forgive me, Mihail, pronouncing your last name is just going to be a mess, so I'll leave that out. Mihail, welcome to Commerce Today.
Welcome, Darren. Thank you for having me on the show. My name is Mihail Ketchuk. I'll make it easier for you. Hello, everyone listening to our podcast.
Outstanding. Well, we have a fun topic for today. And what we want, and this is one of the reasons you're here, is we're diving deeper into Creatuity's commitment around accessibility and how we want to provide this service and help other merchants with it. So that's what this is all about. And accessibility is often characterized as A11Y because there's 11 characters in it, and A11Y, it just works out first and last character there. So with that, I guess, Mihail, maybe just as a refresher, because we've talked this a little bit on this podcast before, but maybe kind of bring us back in. What is accessibility? What does it kind of mean from a merchant standpoint in the e-commerce world?
So accessibility actually means availability to everyone, to not just the selected group, which of course may be a majority of your visitors, of people who are visiting your website. But they are not all. People with disabilities are a big part of our society, and by making those websites accessible, so simply available, merchants are able to reach customers that were outside of their recent target market, simply.
Excellent. Well, we've really recognized and really have started to see that it's important, and in some cases, and we'll get to this in just a little bit, there's even legal pieces around this. But before we do, kind of tell us what's Creatuity's kind of view on this as they're looking, the show, as the title even says, diving deeper, we're broadening our services. Kind of what does that mean?
To make the long story short, we as a company with 15 years of experience have recognized and identified that this is a piece of market that needs to be covered. By that I mean, making the website isn't making any website. If it's an e-commerce, if it's an e-store or simply WordPress website, making the website today is not the same thing as we would consider this like 10 years ago. Reason for that is quite simple. Internet became accessible to others, but to be available to them, we need to create the content of the internet available to everyone. So we at Creatuity want to help merchants, our customers, to reach their merchants by not offering services to create any e-commerce, but the e-commerce that will be suitable and available for everybody with any disability or non-disabilities, no matter what.
Yeah. So basically, no matter what's happening, if someone has certain things that make it difficult for them to use a website, we want to eliminate that, and that's that we've taken that on as actually fundamentally one of our company goals for this year, and actually the early part of this year, because we accelerated it and really focused it on the first part of this year. So as we look at that, one of the questions that I asked you as we were prepping for this show, and we kind of have this as part of our show notes here, is what are the implications of this A11Y for our merchants? And one of the first things we came up is there are a little bit of some legal concerns around this, and want to preface, hey, neither one of us are lawyers. We don't play lawyers on TV or anything like that. So please seek the appropriate legal counsel. But kind of a little bit of what you found, Mihail, as you've really started to dig into this.
According to the data I read recently, there are more and more legal threats against site accessibility problems. This mainly refers to, sorry, I need to check in my notes, how is this exactly called? Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Most of the legal threats are really against every site that, in simple words, cannot be read by a screen reader. It's so simple and so complicated at the same time. One could say that, hey, what's so hard in making the site accessible for the screen reader, right? It has to only read through the text. No, it's not correct. It's way more complex work. I'll be happy to describe it in a second, but for now, let's focus on legal stuff. So it is a field where merchants can really fail and which can have really negative implications on their business, while at the same time is the 21st century of website creation, taking care of own business by creating business for others.
Exactly. We want to be inclusive, and we want to make sure that everyone can access the site and have the experience and be able to transact business equally as best as possible. And that's where that ADA can be very, very important. And following that, it can get you in trouble.
On the other hand, legal problems, legal trouble is one thing. Let's say the most visible one, I would say, because it may have a real impact on your finance, on merchants' finance. But on the other hand, it's not only, or even not mainly, the reason why companies consider WCAG compliance. It's their customer. Merchants respect their clients, their customers, by showing them that everybody is important, that we do care about creating a website that can be visited by anyone, by creating a store that can be navigated by anyone. It's even more complicated when you think of an e-store not as a simple website. It's not just the description to be read. It's the description, it's the product details, like attributes, characteristics, images. Even the images, people with eye disabilities will have problems seeing exactly the same thing as people without disabilities see on an image. It's your merchant's role to provide the data the way it can be simply read by ARIA or any other piece of software. And third thing I'd like to mention here about the implications is the customer loyalty and or abandoned purchases. 58%, if I remember correctly, of UK customers say they ditch a purchase if the site isn't accessible. And additionally, we have Generation Z just around the corner, which is soon to become the most influential customer group, and simply the biggest group, so the most influential group. And believe me, Generation Z really pays attention to diversity and inclusiveness, and this may be a deciding factor if they continue to operate with this merchant and with this store or not.
Yeah, everything that I'm seeing as well, Michal, is that Gen Z, they have the discretionary income that can really dictate in a lot of ways where they're going to spend their money, and they can move it in a heartbeat. So, all right, we've talked about these implications. We know it's important. There's a lot to it. So Creatuity specifically wants to help merchants really move into this. And one of the first areas that we looked at starting this process is kind of a accessibility audit, and wanted to kind of I know you're starting this process. You may not have all the details, and that would be a teaser for a future episode possibly, but maybe broad brush, what are you finding here on this accessibility audit, and a little bit about how and what it might be able to do and perform for merchants?
So yes, as you said, at the beginning of this at this road, maybe not the very beginning, but we're warming up with accessibility auditing. However, what I already noticed is a couple of interesting things. Well, you can get accessibility audit for free. Well, everybody says, "Oh, for free, I want it." Well, I've checked them, many of free accessibility audits, and either they say the same, which is not a full truth. Or even they all say, well, even if your site's accessible, you can be sued. Oh, I guess we're having some technical issues. Let's not wait in silence. Maybe I can share some of the answers with everybody here on the show live. So, as I started, we can have a free audit done on one of many websites available on the internet, but that's not really how this should be done. The real value that stands behind this audit is the person who really conducts the audit, or the specialist that really conducts the audit and has the recommendations for you. The most important thing is recommendations, and at the same time, explanation, why is this thing important? By that I mean, we are able to present to the customer hey, you on your website, this, and that needs to be fixed. Well, okay, that's a very synthetic information. You need to fix this. But really, why? Why should I spend any hour with my agency fixing my website? Why should I spend any dollar with third-party agency to investigate on my site and apply any fix? That's the case. That if you receive simple synthetic results, you may not be convinced to go the accessibility way because you have to spend money. You don't know why. At the same time, you're not losing anything, or you don't feel like you're losing anything by not being accessible. What you really need and what really teases, or at least light. Darren, you're back. Great to have you on the show.
Wow. Okay, that was a new experience. So hopefully you explained everything about our audits. And
I'm in the middle. So if you please allow me to finish where I was for our visitors. So to have the audit complete, to have the audit saying what it should really say, it's not just that you get the synthetic results I've mentioned a second ago. You have to know what it changes for you and for your merchants. For example, let's stick to the example I had a second ago. So with the product presentation, you have to present how your product looks like. You have to have a photo of this product. Well, this photo will be seen by some of the people that visit your site, but won't be seen by others. So what do you mean? A description, proper description of this image. And it's not just the description should be an image of a t-shirt, for example. For people who don't see, simply, it has to be said that on this image, you can see a red t-shirt with a logo here above the heart or something like this, with this or that. Darren, help me with English.
Well, the type of material, the type of...
okay, let it be type of material. It should be descriptive, simply.
Yeah.
Without having that in your report, with only having said, well, you're missing alt in image tag, you won't know nothing. Having the information that lack of alt tag prevents people with eye disabilities to see how this product really looks like, well, may lighten up some bulb in your head and say, okay, so I may be losing conversion just because I don't describe my products well.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And again, sorry for disappearing briefly on you. I had some internet challenge here, but I guess kind of lastly, as we kind of wrap this up, I know we talked a little bit about cost. You even mentioned that it can be free, but is it really free?
I'll say this. We shouldn't ask ourselves, or the merchants shouldn't ask themselves a question, can we afford it? I mean, can we afford rebuilding or readjusting our site to be accessible, to be A11Y compliant? The question merchant should ask is, can we afford not being accessible? So having everything that's been said about the lawsuits, about the loss of conversion, about loyalty and abandoned carts in your e-store, you should answer yourself a question: can I afford not being accessible? Because spending a couple of $100 or $1,000 on adjusting your site to be accessible, compared to the money that you're not going to earn or you're going to lose because of lawsuits or loss of conversion, that's probably a significant difference. So it's not so easy to tell exact cost, but it's very easy to say what you're going to lose when you're not become accessible.
Gotcha. Well, guys, been very excited about this episode and really kind of bringing it together and talking about the different aspects of accessibility, how important it is, and the need from a merchant standpoint of taking a look at all of the aspects, and especially around loyalty and legal concerns and following the ADA. Accessibility is important, and there's an entire group of customers that you want to make sure that you're serving. And with that, Creatuity is really diving deep into our services to be able to provide this. So as always, we appreciate you listening. I'm going to kind of wrap this up for time concerns here, but we appreciate you listening. As always, please subscribe to our page. You can find us on YouTube at Creatuity, as well as all of your podcast providers. So with that, Mihail, thank you once again. And with that, thanks everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time here at Commerce Today.